Scripts are one of the most powerful features in Giants Editor, but they look a bit intimidating, so many modders avoid them. This video is going to change that. In the next few minutes, I'll show you how to run scripts in the Giants Editor, including changing simple settings inside the scripts, how to organize your own script folder, and how to put scripts directly on buttons in the editor UI. Don't worry, no programming will be required. Hi Virtual Landscape Architect, I'm Nadine, and this channel is all about where FS modding finally makes sense. Let's start at the very beginning and see how scripts actually work in Giants Editor. Basically, almost every menu item you click in Giants Editor runs a script in the background. Most of the time you don't see that code, but for everything listed in the scripts menu, you can. You can even add your own. Let's have a look. Here in the scripts menu, you see shared scripts. These are the built-in ones. And then you might have additional menus for your own. I will give you a short walkthrough of all the available scripts at the end of the video. Let's use the Place Objects on Terrain script. I prepared a few objects which are floating in the air. Select them, then choose the script in the menu. Shared scripts, map, terrain, place objects on terrain. Notice now that some of the cube are now halfway on the ground and some have their bottom on the ground. This is because the place on the ground script acts on the anchor of each object. That is where the gizmo is when you select it. So here it's in the middle of the cube, and here I changed it to be at the bottom of the cube. Of course, you could place these manually on the ground, but for hundreds or even thousands of objects, that will take a long time. This is where scripts come in handy. They can automate repetitive tasks and they can do calculations for you. Depending on the script, it might have a separate UI or not. UI stands for user interface, by the way, so if they have their own window. The Place Objects on Terrain script did not have a UI, but Paint Terrain by Spline does. You see that small window where it asks for a layer ID and a side count. We will use that later, but remember the layer ID. Here we have to set a number. Some scripts require specific objects to be selected. Let me run the Paint Terrain by Spline now. I click on Paint. And now I get an error here down in the console where it says no splines were selected. This is because this script needs a spline in the selection. Here I have a spline, and when I select that now and try the script again, it will now paint something along my spline. The shared scripts in the menu are all installed by default, but you can add your own. If you want to add your own, the user scripts will be added to a subdirectory of the Giants Editor settings in your user data. I do not recommend leaving it that way, because if you do, you will have to remap your scripts to the toolbar buttons with each update of the Giants Editor. Instead, let's define a folder which we will use for our scripts and link that folder to our editor. Let me create a folder. I will name it Scripts Test, but you can choose whatever folder you like as long as you have edit rights on it. And now I go back to the Giants Editor, go to Preferences, and then Scripting. And here in both areas I will add the folder I just created. Add folder, and also here Script Test, add folder, and then apply these settings. Then close. We do not see this in the scripts menu yet. That is because it has nothing in it. Let's change that by going to the script editor in the window menu. Here you can see I have a lot of scripts already, but I will collapse all of this. And here you see the directory which I added. Right-click on that folder and say Create Script. It will ask you for a name. I will just name it test script. This will be the file name which will be created, and then I click on create. Now I have this, it has opened everything again. So here is my folder, and below that I have now the test script. This is now an empty template for a script. It only has added some lines to it about who is the author, what's the name of the script, description, icon. The name here is how the script is named in the scripts menu, and the description will be shown as a tooltip if you add the script to a button in the toolbar later. In order to have the script do something, let's just type print hi below these lines. So print, opening bracket, double quotes, hi, double quotes and closing bracket. Don't worry if this looks unfamiliar. You don't need to understand Lua to use the scripts like this. This is only meant as an easy example. If you don't want to type this yourself, you can copy it from the video description or from the pinned comment. What this does is basically the print command writes text into the console, and in our case this will be the text hi. Save the script and then execute it from the scripts editor. Now you should see hi in the console, like I see here. I'm showing this mainly so you understand how scripts are structured. Most of the time you will use downloaded scripts. This is one way you can use to create new scripts. With a downloaded script, you could use this workflow and then paste the downloaded script code into the script editor and overwrite what is there. The second way of adding a new script is by placing the downloaded Lua file directly into your scripts folder. In this case, you might need to restart the Giants editor for it to recognize the added scripts. To test that, I created a small script for you which you can download. You can find the link in the video description and pinned comment. This script will help you with the Paint Terrain by Spline script. Remember that layer ID number which we had to set there? This script will show the layer ID numbers and names of all textures in the console. After you downloaded the script, add it to your scripts folder. Let's assume I downloaded the script and I have it now in my downloads folder. So I copy it and then I go to the folder which I just created, scripts test, and paste it here. So now I have it in this folder. And now for the Giants editor to recognize our script, we have to restart the Giants editor. So I close everything. No, I don't save it. Open it back up again. And here I have my spline again. It's not painted because I did not save. So I select it. And now in the scripts menu, I now see this menu entry, and I have the two scripts which we created in the list. The test script is the one which just prints the hi into the console, and this one is the list terrain texture layers. Click on that, and now here in the console you see the result. So we have all these numbers and then followed by the texture name. So this way we can be much more intentional about which number we want to use, and we don't have to use try and error to find out the correct one. So let's use that Paint Terrain by Spline again. Let's assume we want to use grass for our spline. That would be texture layer 104. So let's go to that script again. Shared, map, terrain, Paint Terrain by Spline. And now we can set 104 as the texture layer ID. The 4, by the way, is the width of that painting. I just leave it at 4. And I click paint. And now we have painted grass. On top of this texture layer list, you can see that it says, "Hi Nadine." I added this small text to demonstrate how you can change settings in a downloaded script. Often when you download a script from the internet, there will be some settings which you can tweak within the script. This is even more frequent when the script does not have its own UI. In these cases, you need to open the script editor within the Giants editor. and then navigate to your script. This is the list terrain texture layers. You can open that also with Notepad++ or VS Code, by the way. It does not have to be the built-in script editor. And now check out the script on the right side. The lines which start with 2 dashes are comments. They also have a different color. You see here that I added a comment which says settings and also end settings. And under that settings line, we find a line which says your name equals Nadine. Often, downloaded scripts will offer a settings section on top of the script, which allow you to tweak some functionality without messing around with the Lua code itself. Your name, in this case, is the name of the setting that will be then used somewhere later in the code. The info after the equal sign is what you can change. So let's try to put a different name instead of Nadine here. Let's say Tom. Make sure to leave the double quotes as they are. Now save the script, and instead of executing it from here, we can also execute it from the menu. Scripts, this one, list texture layers, and now we scroll up. It now says, "Hi Tom." Of course, this doesn't have any added value, but this was only to show you how you can easily tweak settings within the script without knowing how to code. If you use an external editor to change your existing scripts, you might have to reload the scripts environment for the Giants editor to recognize the change. There is a button on the toolbar for this. It's this one, a white box with a blue round arrow, or you can use the re-init script environment in the scripts menu. You can also link the script to a button in your toolbar to have easy access to it. Let's do this for my script. Go to Window and then Script Toolbar Editor. On the top right, you see a drop-down where you can select which toolbar you want to use. Let me use toolbar 5 because the other ones have already entries for me. On the left, you see a list of all your scripts, and in the middle, you will see what each toolbar has in it. So let me collapse that again. Here I have the folder which I added, and this is the script we just added. Now I click on Add Script and then Apply. Note how the toolbar will get a new icon now. It's this one. Click on OK. You can move the toolbar around. You can also add the built-in scripts to your toolbar. As you can see, I have a lot of custom icons here, but these are the ones which we also use. Place objects on terrain, and this is the Paint Terrain by Spline script. Now this script does not have a nice icon to it, but you can add one yourself. You can do that in the script editor. If you select the script, here it is, you can click this icon button, and then it will ask you for a PNG file. If you don't have an icon, you can download one from flaticon.com, for example. There you can search for keywords and find a suitable icon. It's mostly free for personal use, but check the licensing in case you are unsure. You should download your icons in 24 pixel size as PNG file. And now if I save it, I have to re-add it again to the toolbar for whatever reason. Apply, and here we see it. This is now the button for my texture list. If I click it, it will run and give me all the layer IDs with their names. This is all you need to know to execute and run scripts, including the downloaded ones. As a bonus, let's have a short walkthrough of the Shared Scripts menu and the most important scripts in there for mapping. For example, you have the Farmland Field Toolkit. This is useful if you want to create fields and paint them. You have a Placeable Toolkit. This one can help if you want to add placeables from the base game. You have the Season Visuals control. This can help you to display your map in different seasons, or with snow or with rain. And then of course you have the terrain scripts, which we already used. Paint terrain by spline, place objects on terrain, or set terrain heat by spline, which will align the terrain heat to the spline you selected. That's it for today. You know now how to run scripts in Giants Editor, how to organize them properly, and how to make them part of your everyday workflow. If this video helped you, feel free to leave a like. It really helps the channel. And if you want to take this further, I'll show you how we actually use scripts for procedural placement in the next video. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.